Hello everybody, what's up? How you doing? Welcome back to my second video on Game Maker Studio. In this video, we'll be continuing on where we left off on the previous tutorial and finishing the logic for the base Tic Tac Toe game. If you didn't catch the previous one, then I'll put an annotation in the corner of this video and the link in the description if you want to check it out. So let's stop chit-chatting and get to business. Continuing exactly where we left off last video, we'll have to do a few changes to the OBJ game. We'll have to, in the create event, add in a variable called GameOver, which I will set to equal false. And then inside the global left press, add in another if statement, and that is if GameOver is equal to false, then it will run this code. If not, it won't. This will basically make it impossible to place a tick, or a symbol, when the game is over and the board needs to be reset. Then we have to go into our scripts, CRTAC place, and add in one more code, and that is another script that we will create later, and that is which I'll call a CR check for victory. With this, we'll see whether or not somebody has got 3 in a row or the game board is full and needs to be reset. So I'll copy this name and create a script with that exact name, like so. So next part, in this script we'll start with an if statement, and I will again refer to another script that we have not created, and this one will check all the rows from the top and down and see if there is anyone that has a 3 in a row there, and then we add a little bit more to this if statement and have an or, a CR check for columns, and this will do exactly the same as for rows, except it will do for columns. And the last part is to check for diagonals, so check for diagonals. Let me just increase the size of this script for a second so we can read the whole thing. And that is the whole if statement. We'll come back to fill it later, but for now we'll create the check for rows, long columns, and diagonal. So creating a script, check for row, and it will need the parameter or argument player. Var player will then be set equal to argument 0, like so. And now we gotta create a for loop. For I is equal to 0, and this for loop will have to go through the total width of the grid. So if we do a yes grid width of grid, if I is less, then it's going to increase or incremented. That basically means that I will be will start at 0, go to 1 and 2, and this for loop is over. And then with another if statement with an accessor, we're going to access the grid at position 0 and comma I, so 0.0, 0.1, and 0.2. And if that's equal to player, then we're also going to check if if the first position with I is equal to player, and if the second position of I is equal to player. Only then could a player have 3 in a row, and this should be winning in rows, so basically mean that here we can return true. If you check here now, go back to check for victory, you will see that if anyone has 3 in a row now on rows, then this will be true. And now it's just basically checking for cross. We'll have to do the same check for circle later, but we'll get to that. Now, go back in here and copy this code, and let's create another script. This one will be for columns. Check for column. Paste in this script, get title, and add in the argument player there. Now the only change we have to do here is first change this to height. It doesn't do big of a change in this specific occurrence because height and width is exactly the same. Take this and change it to 0, and this one to I. This way we will get the opposite of rows, which is column, Y and 2. Go out of here. I think I might have a spelling mistake. Nope, it's working fine. And copy this. Create script. And player. Now I'm just going to go back to columns and copy the code because it's almost identical again. But this time first we can remove the for loop. Put everything back where it's supposed to be. And here we don't even need I. We'll have to check first if 0, 0 is equal to player, and if 0, 0 is equal to player, and 1, 1 is, and 2, 2, that means that the diagonal is that there are 3 in a row in diagonal, but that is only from top left to bottom right, and we have to do the same check. Just copy it and do it for the opposite direction, which is 0, 2, 1, 1, and 2, 0, which is from top right to bottom left. Now all of these checks are done. Just make sure this is correct. And if this is true, we want to create the instance. Create. Position doesn't really matter. 0, 0, and I'll call it obj round over. And set game over to equals true. This way, while the obj round over is created, you cannot place any more tags or any more symbols on the board. So if we now run this and see how it works, should be working exactly like we made it. Should be able to get rows, diagonals, and columns for cross only now, like that. And there is, of course, we still haven't created round over. Let's get to doing that. Round over. Save and restart. And as soon as cross gets either a row, a diagonal, or a column, the game should stop working. We'll get back to fixing that in a moment. There. Now you should not be able to change anything. Let's see. And cross should have won. Now, so to now finish up with the obj round over, we'd add a create event and add in some code and call it initialize variables. We'll have one variable here. I will call it time, set it to false, and then I will call an alarm. And we'll set the alarm to be room speed times 2, which is basically 2 seconds. Because room speed is a matter of how long it takes for a second. So basically 2 seconds. Add in the alarm 0. Add a piece of code in here. And this will be basically this called destroy the object. First we'll add in an instance destroy. After 2 seconds this will be destroyed. And we will We'll have to do some changes with the OBJ player. We have to empty the grid first of all. We have to set game over to false again so people can play symbols. And we have to change player so that if just change player back to the start again. So we'll do it with OBJ game. We'll do it as I said. We'll go ds grid clear grid and nothing. We'll set everything in the grid back to nothing. Next part will be to set game over to false and set player equal to not player. Now we're done with the alarm. Then the last thing to do is to draw text. I'll use a draw GUI for that on the screen. So draw the GUI, and we'll need a few variables again. So our player, width and height. I think I misspelled that. There. And turn. Those will be the variable, and it's a player will be equal to obj game.player, just so we have a reference to see whose turn it will last. But because of course, I forgot to tell you about what obj roundover is for. Obj roundover is going to draw the text to say who won, basically. So if cross wins, then it will write cross wins. If circle wins, then it will write circle wins. That's basically what it's all about. And if it's a draw or a tie, as many also call it, then it will show a tie. Then we want to write it in the middle of the screen, and that's what I'll be using width and height for. And those will be a reference to window get width, not height. And height will be to window get height. That's basically the height and width of the window that we're currently seeing on the screen. And that will be divided by 2, so that we can place it right in the middle. We'll get back to turn in a moment. So now we'll have to fix the alignment and the color and the font. So I'll go draw, set H align and set it to center. Draw set vertical alignment and set that to middle, FA middle. Draw set alpha and set that to 1. Draw set color and set it to see white. And draw set font. We'll create a font later on, and I'll call it FNT round over. Now I'll create a font, the name of FNT round over, and I'll turn it into a rectangular ball at the size of 25 is okay. Now just make it clear there. Now we need a switch statement to see, or we could use the if, but I would prefer to use the switch statement to see if it's a tie or not. So switch on tie. If it's true, then the game was a tie, and it needs to write that it was a tie or a draw. If it's not, then basically we have to draw the game itself. So if we say case true, we'll have to not draw the game, I apologize. Draw that who won, and case false. So if it's true, we want basically the only thing we want to say is draw text at width and height and just write tie. That's all we need in here. But the code is a little bit more long-winded if you want to, if it's not. We'll have to do another switch on player, like that. And if it's true, then turn will be equal to circle, as you know, since player will be 1 for circle and 0 for cross. In case false, then turn turn will be equal to cross. This turn is then basically just used to get a string value, because right now player is integer and we cannot use that to write. And then outside of here we will draw text again at width, comma height. This, it will be turn plus wins. Basically, that's all that's needed in here. So if we now play the game and see how it turned out, we should almost be at our finished product. So cross get 3 in a row, but here circle win, and we need to fix this. Circle was not supposed to win, there was cross, and the reason for that is in here, even is that the player will be changed even if the game is over. So if we do if game is not over, and only then will player be changed. If not, player will be the same. So by doing that, and then we just need to go to obj game and fix the fun problem. Draw set font, and if you actually set this to -1, it will go back to the basic font that it was earlier, with as you will see in a second. Let's do one more test and see if we're actually finished, which we should be by now. So cross gets 3 in a row and cross wins, but of course we need to fix the H horizontal alignment too. And no, the vertical alignment too. So vertical alignment of top, I believe that is on. We'll see in a second. And there, cross wins. And let's try with the horizontal circle. But of course, we did not add in circle. So go back to check victory, and if, and then do an else if. And we can basically copy all of this, if I can just grab it, right there, and change cross to circle. And do this again, go over here, and add that in. But there's also one more thing you need to add, and that is in case it's a draw, and that is much easier. That's actually very easy to do. That's if we want to check if in the DS grid the value of nothing exists. So in the DS grid we'll see value in x1 0 0 and 2 2 if the value nothing exists, or if it does not exist, then we'll create a variable called tie, and this will be equal to instance create 0 0 obj round over. In this way we can actually use tie to change a few of the variables inside the obj round over. So we can do tie dot and go access the variable called tie and set it equal to to true. This way it will change it so that it will write tie, and there's apparently a symbol missing, and that should be right here. So let's try it one more time. Now, cross, we already saw that works. Circle, win. Now let's try to get a tie out of this. And tie. And the last thing that we still haven't checked is the diagonal, which as you can see works perfectly fine. And now, this base Tic Tac Toe game with the amount of logic needed for it to actually work properly is finished. That about wraps everything up for today. The techniques used in these two videos is the same one that I used in my game called Naughty Crosses. It's up for Android users on Google Play if you want to make sure to check that out. So if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button and I'll make sure to make more. So until next time, goodbye and have a great day.